Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Dan Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker here, and this is my Week 2 preview of college football. So, let's get straight into these matchups. The first matchup of the day is Kansas State versus Troy. I think that this game will be one of the more underrated matchups of this weekend because Troy is a premier Group of 5 program right now versus Kansas State, who lost their main rusher, Deuce Vaughn, and they have to find their identity again. But they also have their quarterback, Walker Howard, in the backfield. I think that this game will be close. I expect the game of 23-20, and I think that Kansas State will pull it out. But I think this will show that the Group of 5 has the talent to keep up with the big boys in the Power 5 conferences, and I think that this game will show why. But if the Troy Trojans can keep it low scoring and keep the ball away from the Kansas State offense, I think they have a good shot at winning. But overall, I'm taking Kansas State for the first game. The second game is Texas State versus UTSA. This game right here, this is a game of both teams. After winning week 1, they have high expectations. Texas State, they have a year 1 coach. We didn't know what expectations they had for them. But now since they beat Baylor at Baylor's home stadium, I think that Texas State expectations went from here to here. So now we will look at Texas State like, hey, you guys just be a Power 5 team. Let's see if you can carry that momentum and not be too overly excited for this matchup to where you cost your team a game or you cost your team mental mistakes just being overly excited of having last week's victory. So, but overall, I think that the Roadrunners will win. I think the Roadrunners will win by a touchdown. I think it'll be a 28-21 game. I think that they'll keep it close throughout the whole game, but I think UTSA capitalizes on an interception, and I think they win that matchup. So now we have Notre Dame versus NC State. Brennan Armstrong transferred from Virginia. He's now at NC State. He ran the ball very well last game. He ran for over multiple touchdowns, and I think that he would cause the Notre Dame defense a little bit of trouble. But overall, I think that Notre Dame will eventually win just based off Sam Hartman and how he has built his connection with his weapons. And Audrey Estime, I think that he will run over 100 yards in that game and score. I think that Notre Dame is building that momentum up for their big time matchup later on in this season. And I think that if Notre Dame can continue this success, I think that we can have a conversation of can they sneak into the playoff now. But it's too early to tell. But we'll see how things will go. The next matchup will be Colorado versus Nebraska. This matchup, I think that Colorado wins by multiple points, by over double digits. I'll say by 10 plus, because one, Nebraska still has growing pains on the offensive end. The defense looked great, but the way that Shadur throws the ball around and plays the quarterback position, I think he will have his way because one, his wide receivers are talented to get open and gain yards after the catch. And then Dylan Edwards, who I believe is the X factor of the team, I think that he will have a big day. And I think that if Colorado gets that rushing game going, it'll be a tough time for the Cornhuskers. I just think that the Cornhuskers are just not there yet. I think they still need time to gel. And I think that this game, even though it's a rivalry, I think that Coach Prime versus the Matt Rule matchup, I think that Coach Prime will win out because Matt Rule in the beginning of the season was kind of throwing shade against Colorado, but then now since he's finna play the Buffaloes, he said, "Oh, they're a great team. They're this and that, third." I think what Coach Prime said last week, he's gonna put it into fruition. Where he said he keeps the receipts. I think that the receipts has been kept, and I think that they will post it in the locker room, post it somewhere. I think that they won by double digits just because of that. I think that Shador Sanders will have a big day. I think that Travis Hunter will have a big day. I think that Dylan Edwards will have a big day. I think that they will all have their impact on the game. Travis Hunter, offensively and defensively. I think Shador will throw for over 300. I think that Dylan Edwards could have over 200 total yards in this matchup. The next game will be Ole Miss versus Tulane. This matchup is a toss up for me because which quarterback do I trust the most? And that's between Jackson Dart and Michael Pratt. I trust Michael Pratt more, but I think that Ole Miss gets to pull it off. They're at home. I want to see how Tulane will stop Quishon Judkins because he's one of the best bats in America. So I want to see if they can stop him. And I think that Ole Miss just has enough with the wide receiver room to get things going. And I think that Lane Kiffin will scheme up a great offensive game plan to get the win for the Rebels. The next game will be Texas A&M versus Miami. Texas A&M, if I choose you guys this week, will you guys actually be serious and pull through for me? Because I know Miami's coming out after a win. They're looking for vengeance this year, while people were talking down on them last year. I think that they're coming for revenge this year with Tyler Van Dyke. But just give me the Aggies. Just give me the Aggies. Give me the Aggies. Their wide receiver room is one of the best in the SEC. I think that whatever Conor Wegman does, I think that if he just puts the ball out there for his receivers to go get it, I think that it'll be a good day for him. And I think that the Aggies will pull this off. The next game will be App State versus North Carolina. I think that Drake May will have a good day, but I think App State will pull off the upset. I think that App State has enough defensively to fluster the outside receivers, and plus the NCAA rule Tez Walker ineligible for the season, so I think that takes a hit on the Carolina offense. And I think that App State has enough to beat the Tar Heels, and I think they'll pull it off today. And because let's not forget, the Sun Belt in week 2 of last year, they put off 3 huge upsets. So now I see the Sun Belt could potentially win against North Carolina and Kansas State, with Troy and App State as the recipients of the wins. But only time will tell. The next game will be Texas versus Alabama. This is the game day pick. This is the primetime matchup. This is everything that you want. Everything can go right, but it's all relying on Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe. Because I know what I'm getting out of the weapons that Quinn Ewers has. I know what I'm getting out of the weapons that Jalen Milroe has. It all depends on what type of quarterback shows up that day. Will it be Jalen Milroe, the guy we saw week 1, or the Jalen Milroe we saw last year versus Texas A&M? I can say the same thing about Quinn Ewers. Can it be the Quinn Ewers that we saw versus Alabama last year, who was efficient, pushing the ball downfield, making the right reads? or will it be the Quinn Ewers against West Virginia? Because I know what I'm getting between this coaching matchup between Steve Sarkisian and Nick Saban, a very offensive-minded head coach versus a defensive-minded head coach. So I know Steve Sarkisian has things up under his sleeve for his former boss Nick Saban, but all depends on what type of quarterbacks we get on Saturday. So for my pick, give me Alabama. I think Alabama will win by 3. I think it'll be a very close game, but I think that the Crimson Tide will do just enough. I'll say give me the 31-28 win for the Crimson Tide. I just can't believe I just chose Alabama, but Alabama will pull it off. I think there's more for Alabama to lose than for Texas to win. Because if Alabama loses, right, we have to look at Alabama a little differently, saying, hey, like, we know LSU lost, but I think they have enough talent for you guys to win against y'all. But now I have to see what Alabama has to do after this game. Because if they lose, people will talk. But if they win, people will be like, Bama's back. But if they lose, they'll question a lot of things that's going on in Tuscaloosa. And if Texas loses, they'll be like, oh, Texas just lost because they were on the road. It's just simple as that. So, Alabama, this is your time to show why you guys are the standard of college football. This is your time to show you were the standard of college football. Because if not, people will look at Tuscaloosa a little differently, and it won't be right. But that's just how things goes in life. Well, that's a wrap for this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Come join the den. And I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker, signing out. Peace.